Welcome to the fight game. It's Icewater and Puma, and we're going to start out with the fight that happened last weekend against Loma and Haney. And so I saw the fight, man, and I like to start out this way. I have no skin in the game with these two fighters. Both of them are favorite fighters. I was looking forward to this matchup for a long time. When I saw the fight, and I watched it about 3 times, I saw that Loma may have gotten 4 of the rounds, maybe 5, and then Haney got 7 rounds out of that particular fight. And when people talk and say, hey, Loma dominated the fight, things of that sort, I didn't see it that way. I thought in the 10th and 11th round were the most definitive rounds for Loma. You talked about it last week. In that 11th round, he didn't have that pop to take Haney out. And I think and you said this also last week, if Loma gets behind, I don't think he could catch up. Because after the 11th round, you had Haney, who clearly won, to me, the 12th round, just putting it into the show. A lot of people say this was a robbery, that boxing needs, something to help out as far as fights like this. We've been seeing fights like this all our lives, where people kind of have their fighter and they think whoever they were rooting for won. I understand Loma was the sentimental favorite and people wanted to see him come back. He fought in the Ukraine war, all this other stuff. But everything you said offline, as far as Haney needing more work. Yeah, he's 24, needs more work. Loma is a master at angles and his pursuit of Haney. I thought that was all good. But I also felt, in my honest opinion and assessment of this, that Loma did not do enough to get the undisputed title. Your thoughts?
And I can get that. I think that, let me start with that, that did enough to get the undisputed title. I think back in the day when we were coming up, when Muhammad Ali was the champion, you had to literally take the title from the champion.
Right.
You had to be so significant in your win that you go, there's no way the opponent gets a close decision. It has to be unanimous. But I think that changed. That changed dramatically. We've seen a number of instances where in modern day boxing, a guy has to do enough and he wins. Okay. Do I think that's right? We always taught that you have to literally take it from the champion.
Yes.
I don't think that's in today's modern boxing. And when I say that, I don't believe that. So I think that things don't have to be as clear cut as they were before when we were growing up, and that's how we learned boxing. But the other part too is, I'm just saying like this, I think there are a lot of questionable rounds. Okay, that's why I went back and watched it. Devin Haney had the jab. Devin Haney was shooting the jab, was shooting the body shots, and he was connecting. But the one thing I wanted to see from him was, did he ever hurt Loma? And I don't think I can say that. But that doesn't have to be the case, because we know Floyd Mayweather Jr. has done that for years. You don't have to hurt somebody. You just got to be better. You got to outpoint them. And I can see people saying that. But when I looked at the fight and went back and scored it as well, I saw where there are a number of maybe five rounds that I thought were questionable. And I watched it from the beginning and the end. I thought Haney clearly won the first round. I thought round 2 was up for grabs. It's questionable. I think Lomachenko won 3. So Haney won 1, 6, and 9. I thought Lomachenko won 3, 10, 11. And at that point, I thought 4, 5, 7, and 8 were up for grabs. And the way that they talk about the 12th round, I really wanted to watch that again, because I think my feed cut off or whatever. But I watched it, and I was looking for the dominance that they said Haney had. Did he win the round? I can see that. But I didn't see the domination that people were saying that's how he won the fight. I get that. But with all that being said, I think all of that combined means a draw. Because as much as we talk about what he did, Lomachenko 10-11, this man literally, Haney was backing up, getting tagged in the face. And you said the magic phrase for me, Loma didn't have enough to take Haney out.
Right.
Did you ever say that about Haney in the fight against Loma? Never even thought about that.
I can't.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Haney was in trouble a couple times, and I'm not here to tell nobody what to do. But if you really want to see what's going on with this fight, and I think this is gonna be something that we watch closely in the future, pay attention to what was being said in the corner of Haney when there was a chance that he might be in trouble. Pay attention, because I think in the future that's going to have a significant, if it stays status quo, that's going to have a significant meaning, a lot to what happens in Haney's future. He's a hell of a fighter.
Can you repeat that? Because you mentioned it to me earlier this week, and I thought that was the key.
What I'm saying to you is, if he stays, Haney stays with his current personnel, with his dad and some other folks, if he stays with that current situation, I think it's going to have significant. It's going to have significant in the future fights that he has, because at times it appeared as if the folks in the corner didn't really have a plan for what was happening to them, and you could hear a little bit of the frustration from Devin Haney saying, "Hey, but you say he's doing this, but he hit me 3 times," and it's like, what's your plan? When you heard, and I'm not going to compare this to Floyd Mayweather, but I am. When you heard certain corners, they had an idea how to counteract, and I didn't hear that sound, that counter plan from that corner. And I might be wrong. I might just be throwing something out there. But when I listened to what was being said, I said, this young man's talent is carrying him through this fight. And I think it's carrying him throughout. But when you start to face the likes of equal talent, Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, people that may provide more of a challenge than Mr. Lomachenko, you're going to need somebody, or maybe they had an off night. I can give you that. You're going to need individuals in the corner to direct you so you can stay on track and be ready to face the adversity that's coming towards you. That's for all fighters. And I think it was clearly open and pure. It was relevant what I just said in this fight against Lomachenko.
All right. What happens to Lomachenko now? He's 35 years old. He's a veteran in the game. Where does he go next?
I think you can see Lomachenko, if it's the right situation, he probably would try to drop down to 130. I think there's some fights. There might be some money down there for him, or he could wait till things kind of clear out with the upper echelon guys and fight, right? Where he could fight. I mean, of course, Shakur Stevenson said, I'll fight Lomachenko tomorrow, because he saw what he saw. And I think he thinks that would be easy pickings now. He thinks he can, because he's older and he can take him down. But I think Loma, he might take that, but then you keep losing these fights to these younger fighters, you start losing interest, and people don't start looking at you as valuable as you should be, right? So I would say, let's look around at some other things and maybe wait on to some up and coming guys. Maybe drop down to 130 if you can, or wait till 135 plays a way out. Because I think still, if he's able to fight the way that he did, Lomachenko that is, still can be a force.
Yeah.
It's just like, you may not be the ace, you might be on the A level, but you damn sure B+, right? You just don't need to be up on the A level. You just don't need to be on the promenade deck. You need to be on the B level.
Yeah.
And you can do damage on the B level.
Yeah. I definitely thought it was a close fight. It was a competitive fight. It was a good fight. And so I know people are sore about the result. Depending on, I'm not on either side, to be honest. I love both of these fighters. I look at Devin Haney now, and I think the only possible fight ahead of him is Shakur Stevenson. They were in the ring kind of chirping at each other, saying, Devin Haney said, hey, I'm number one. And Shakur Stevenson said, for now. I don't think Tank Davis, I don't think he would be, the styles of him and Tank Davis, I don't think will work out right now. I think he needs to work on some things, because if Loma can get to him like that, I think Tank Davis can definitely get to Haney. But what do you think? Who should be the next opponent for Haney?
Well, I find it interesting I mean, we've heard him say, I'm gonna stay at 135 because I'm gonna clear it out. I want to fight Stevenson and I want to fight Davis. But also, it was mentioned that Haney's clearly stated, I'm too big for 135. It's hard making this weight. I got to go to 140. I'm thinking 140. Unless I might, in fact, he said, I'll probably go to 140, test the waters out, see how I feel up there. And then if it's worthwhile, I might come back down and fight those guys at 135. Mm-hmm. My thing is, if he's so gung-ho on facing Shakur Stevenson and also Tank Davis, you stay at 135. You work it out to stay. But apparently, he's opening his options. And I don't know if that's because he wants to be natural. It is natural for him to be at 140, but we know where the money is. Yeah. Your money's not up at 140. Your money's at 135. It's staring you right in the face. It's got blinkers on. Yeah. You got Gervonta over here. You got Shakur over here. Everybody knows that. So the question is, you are the undisputed champion at 135. They're calling your name out. You calling them out to a point. What are you going to do? There's no promoters to get in the way because he technically is like a free agent now. It's wide open. Well, not technically. He still can do some things, but Bob Aaron would open the door. So do you want the money? You want where it's real, or you want to go up to 140 where it's safe?
Yeah. I look at that as a kabuki dance saying, listen, you got me on record as saying 135, but the money has to be right in any situation. Don't sell me short because I said I was going to do this. I can go up, or if the money's right, the situation's right, I can stay here. It's up to you. Show me the money at this particular point.
I get that, but the money is there. Money gonna be there when both of them fight.
Yeah,
they're major fights. He knows that, and I, like I said, whatever he decides to do, he is the champion. He's earned the right to do whatever. But if you're talking about legacy, which he's talked about, okay, and you winning this fight over Lomachenko was a legacy fight, although you got a little bit more than you bargained for. You got I think he got a little bit more than he bargained for through that old man. You got a little bit more. And now it's like we need to get in the gym and work on that. Now that you had that on your legacy, it's like, now what you gonna do? You say you that guy. We got two guys that say, show me.
Yeah.
And two, the one thing I will say to Devin Haney's credit, he did say, we're going to fight. And what he prefaced that by saying, basically, it may not be at 135. I may catch them at 140. And that's okay, because I don't see Shakur being there long at 135, nor Tank Davis.
No, me either.
And if that works,
yeah,
say that. I'm cool with that. Say that. But don't act like just say, look, I'm going to fight them. I just need to bounce over here. They want to see me. I'm waiting for them at 140.
All right. So the fight that we've been craving for a long time, somebody got to go. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. decide, okay, July 29th is the day that we get down. I remember you saying a couple of weeks ago that Errol Spence is fed up, and he said, you know what? I want to fight this guy right now. And they made a deal happen. And so your thoughts about this fight, and hopefully it's official.
I think it is. It's spectacular. The one thing I think was very helpful is that Terrence Crawford became a free agent and opened the door. I think they both wanted to fight each other. We heard stories about somebody ducking and all this other stuff. But our ironic point that here's the point nobody wants to tell you about, and I'm not trying to give it the credit to anybody. They're not telling you this, that Terrence Crawford had to sign a 2-fight deal with PBC. Okay? So he's under contract with PBC because what they plan to do is they want to have this fight, and then the loser has a right to a rematch clause, a 30-day rematch clause. If he loses, he can say, I want a rematch. So they're setting up the money that way, and then the possibility that you might end up with a trilogy if it's that good, right? The other thing which is ironic about this too is that the gentleman that Terrence Crawford is working with now, a la promoter, whatever, is very familiar with the infamous, people like to say, Al Heyman of PBC, okay? So that's why you think about, people, connections talk and people work out, and relationships matter. So this is the same gentleman that negotiated with Al Heyman on Wilder and Fury 1. He brought that to the table when that wasn't supposed to be, whatever with Bob Arum and whatnot. That's supposed to be never ever happening. But this gentleman was at the forefront of that first fight, and they had to negotiate. So now you bring him in, and now we get Crawford versus Spence. And ironically, him and Al Heyman have a pretty good relationship. And now we're gonna get to fight. See, nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. Terrence Crawford, I'm never gonna sign with PBC. Okay, right? So you got to get the whole story. And it's nothing wrong with being in PBC, but you just act like you would never ever. It's like signing with the devil. But when it comes down to the reality of this money, they're both gonna make a lot of money. They've already mentioned that, and it makes sense. And it's at a time where you're going to be the show, and I think that's one of the biggest things that people wanted. If these guys are going to fight, you want to make sure that there's nothing in the way. When they want to make it a spectacle, which I think it will be. The only thing I don't like about being at T-Mobile Arena. Anyway, that's another thing.
Now, Sorry, and folks out there know that Earl Spence is one of my favorite fighters out there right now. So I got to go with him. No matter what, I got to go with him. Terrence Crawford, other than Sean Porter, to me, hasn't really fought a lot of the competition that, to me, Earl Spence Jr. has fought. So I'm not gonna make an early prediction, but I tend to favor Earl Spence Jr. And him getting fed up, say, you know what, this guy been talking. I'm tired of him talking. Let me just shut him up. So and let me make some money out the deal, so I can move on with my career. What are your thoughts? Who would you favorite at this time? Who would be the favorite for you?
Oh, it's hard. I respect both of them. I really do. I like Terrence Crawford. I'm not saying I think I favor him. I like him because of the factor that he has moved up in the ranks and he's been able to get it done. A la Manny Pacquiao. Okay, I remember watching Pacquiao way back when Manuel Marquez, and how he worked his way up to 147. So I like that aspect of him. But I also like the factor that Earl Spence Jr. is he's a monster, bro. He's a monster. And he's been through car accidents. They say sometimes whatever, he likes to hang out a little bit. But when it comes time to fight, dude comes up and is prepared to fight and ready to go. And Crawford is a dog as well. But the one thing I think Terrence Crawford does, he's a hell of a boxer and he can move. But Errol Spence Jr., and this is one thing I think is going to be a difference of why I'm favoring Errol Spence Jr., is the fact that Errol Spence Jr. Has ability to hurt people. And Terrence Crawford lately in some of his fights you've been able to punch him and hit him. And if Errol Spence Jr. can hit you, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a major problem. He's knocked down or knocked out. He's broken people's orbital bones.
Yeah.
And Terrence Crawford, I think, in order to really be around this fight, he can throw some bombs too, but he's going to have to move and stay away. Because if Errol catches you, when you break people's orbital bones, not just one or a couple guys.
Punching pretty hard.
Yeah, you punch and you catching them. So Terrence Crawford is going to have to fight a nice fight. He's going to be smart, combination fight. He's going to have to move around. And if he does catch Spence, he can put something on him too. But he's going to have to be, I almost do an a la Sugar Ray Leonard dance for a while before he can, because you don't want to get tattooed. That Devin Haney kind of moved around a little bit too. He making sure that he didn't want to catch that thing. Almost caught it a couple of times, but like I said, that's just editorial comment.
Yeah, I kind of look at this fight as the Hearns and Hagler. It's kind of reminiscent to me of Hearns and Hagler, with Terrence Crawford being Hearns and Spence being Hagler. That powerful puncher that's going to stalk you down at one particular point in the fight, and if he catches you, lights out. And Hearns kind of bouncing around. He's the hit man. He can hit. But like you said, when he put them things on you, you about to run too much. I kind of when I thought about this fight, I'm like, this is Hearns Hagler all over again.
Yeah, I can see that. But the only thing is, though, Hagler was an all encompass force.
Yeah.
Spence can box you, and he has patience. And I think that's what caused Hagler to lose to Leonard. Like I told you before, he was trying to prove a point instead of being the guy that we thought he was.
That's another debatable fight.
Oh, clearly, we could be here all night. But I think that, and I say this, and I'm not saying that this happened with the recent fight, but I think there's a bias. And I think the judge's bias cost Hagler points in rounds.
Yeah.
Because they thought he was going to come out and be super aggressive and pound, pound, pound when he tried to box and try to be more elusive and cool. And they're like, nah, that's not what we expect from you.
Yeah.
So, but getting back to the point of what these guys are coming at, they both are very smart IQ-wise. They both have the defense ability. They're mobile, they move, they hit hard. They both they punch hard, and they have ability to move. And I've seen Earl Spence get hit before. We always thinking about he one punch away with all the surgeries and the mouth surgeries and everything. So it's a lot of questions. But it's gonna make for one hell of a matchup because you got to realize that Terence Crawford not the biggest dude in the world either.
No, he's not.
And Errol Spence could be at 154 right now.
Yeah. One last question, and it's something that I've learned to do over the last few years, is that I tend to not expect fighters to be like I saw them in their last fights or their last few fights. I tend to watch them and what they're doing in that present fight. And something you just alluded to is like the judges kind of expect certain fighters to do certain things. I got away from that a while ago because usually when fighters have to make adjustments, they don't look the same way for every fighter. They give the fighter a little bit of a different angle, different perspective, different kind of look because they know that the other fighter is expecting them to do certain things. And usually you can set up traps if you know people are doing certain things, a la Davis and Garcia, and catching them with the body shot, knowing that he was going to come with that high hook. So is it wrong for folks to kind of say, I expect this fighter's been like this for the last 5 to 10 fights, I expect him to fight this way, or just take it as you see it, the fighter making adjustments to whoever he's fighting?
I don't think it's wrong. I mean, you look at Mike Tyson, people were that's all they expected.
Yeah.
But they didn't understand how he grew and started to do more of the the under and over and moving around, more movement instead of coming straight forward. So he started to change as his career progressed. So when a fighter fights all only one way, fans love it. That's what they expect because that's what we've been seeing. Well, those individuals, unless they make changes, we call what I call one-trick ponies.
Yeah.
They only do one thing, and that's how they do it, and that's how they're going to win. And if it's good enough, it might give them a nice little run, but they don't make adjustments. Individuals that are able to make adjustments in fights, as you said, depending on when they come into the ring, maybe plan A didn't work. It's not working. That's what we call technicians. They can box you, they can knock you out, but also they can make adjustments because depending on how you're coming at them, if they see another fluke or they see a flaw that you have, then they make adjustments on the fly. I think Tank Davis is becoming very good at that now. Mm-hmm. He's starting to adjust and see things and having to plan, do some other things. And I think that's going on there. So with all that being said, I don't, one way or the other, however you like it, that's great, but I prefer technicians because technicians can adjust, do whatever they got to do to win the fight. And that's what you want. You saw Floyd Mayweather, people who talked about him when he went straight ahead and fought Cotto. People say, well, you're going to run. And he's like, nah. And they go, well, you're taking a lot of shots because I'm standing right in front of you. But then if you watch the fight, Cotto and Mayweather, you go back to round 11, Floyd starts to box and almost knocks him out. So if he reverted back to what he was doing instead of proving a point, he probably could have got an easy victory. So guys like that, back in the day, even though he's a long don't know what he's on to right now. Oscar De La Hoya used to be one hell of a technician.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
You could adjust. There's certain dudes you go, Sugar Ray Leonard, clearly.
Yeah.
He fought two monsters in Hearns and Hagler. And even with Duran.
Yeah.
You know, and he's able to adjust. And when you look at Sugar Ray Leonard, as great as he was and speed and whatnot, sometimes most people that watch Sugar Ray Leonard, you have to admit, you said, man, they gonna kill that little dude in there. But that showed you how great a boxer and a technician he was. And that's what makes boxing so great. These technicians are able to adjust. Shakur Stevenson is a technician.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think Tank Davis is becoming a better one. Devin Haney is a good technician once he understands it. But now I think he's going to get better because now he's been in a position where somebody literally used angles that he has really understood. Like, how the hell did he get here? And now that's going to help him because now he's like, well, I seen this movie before. I saw those angles and people coming out of different ways. And now I know he's coming that way. I'm aware of it and I can get out the way.
So watch that man coming from some funny places.
And Lomachenko was.
He's Icewater. I'm Puma. And it's the fight game.